in you. What's in you is good enough to share.
Right.
And so, and what's in you is good enough and strong enough and enough, period, that it could tolerate even if that new thing is less than pleasant. Because
Right.
you have this spirit of abundance, you can tolerate a lot,
Hmm.
right? You can grow from a lot. I do not believe it's kind of my premise that you can't grow anything from nothing. There has to be something sufficient there. Every seed has some soil, good enough dirt, good enough air, not great, good
Right.
Good
enough,
enough.
Good
right?
enough.
And for me, that is what abundance is, sufficiency. You'll never be unhappy if you're happy with everything you have.
Mhm.
You
Right.
just it won't be possible
Right.
for you.
And I appreciate that because last year Sherry talked to me about this, the idea of having enough, because I guess I made a statement of not having something. And she challenged me to go into a spirit of abundance and not looking at my life as though I don't have enough, but that everything is waiting and prepared for me. I just have to be aware of it,
Mhm.
present to receive it, and not go into a negative space of thinking that
Absolutely.
there's not enough. And I think a lot of us, especially we talk about this a lot in our clients,
Mhm.
especially for colored girls in the world that we're in today, sometimes feel like there's not enough for us. There's not enough left, but there is actually more than enough. And if we can really get into a space of really doing that, and I did that with because I'm a mantra person as well. So I have certain mantras I live by in my life. This one has become one of them because it's really, really true. Once you activate the idea, before you know it, these small opportunities show up to provide for you. These
Right.
small situations show up to give you a little more breathing space.
And the small situations, when you pay attention to them sufficiently,
Mhm.
you'll realize are very great situations.
Yes.
I
Right.
encourage people to look for that's something that's enough, that's something that inspires you or gives you peace or gives you comfort or gives you something that feels good and fills you up. Look for that in your world every day. You will be able to find it. It's there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good segue into yours.
Yeah. Well, my this year, I decided to transition into. I start my year in November when the day of my birth. So you guys are starting your new year in January, but I generally like to practice starting my new year the day of my birth, November 5th. And it's important because I recognize that that's my year. That's my opportunity to really acknowledge who I am, start the process of being grateful for my life, and start the process of being grateful for my future. So this year, I recognized, which was powerful, that so much things has happened to me since moving to Charlotte about 6 years ago, meeting Angela, becoming a partner here with her in this practice, but really coming out of a really, really horrific divorce. It was very, very difficult for me transitioning out of a divorce space into a space of completeness within myself and not feeling that I was not enough and not feeling that couldn't be ever enough because someone had decided that they no longer wanted to be a part of my journey. So I recognized that within the past 5 years, Angela's helped me with that. My sisters and Sherry, my baby sister especially, reminded me, sis, do you realize what you have accomplished in the past 5 years?
Right.
And I really didn't realize it. And I said, wow, am I being ungrateful? And then it hit me. This year, I'm going to go into an attitude of gratitude. And gratitude is primarily, there's different equations that people have and different quotes that people have about gratitude. But I take this one out of the more mindfulness practice that we do as psychotherapists into the idea of gratitude allows us to reflect on our past, not to get bound by it, but just to reflect on it, give our present permission right where we are, give ourselves to be right where we are. And then it also offers us an opportunity to give our future purpose. So if we're able to really sit in the seat of our lives and look at the wholesomeness of it, then we can be a little bit more grateful, like I had to do when I recognized that I wasn't really being as grateful as I should with everything that was accomplished within 5 years of coming out of divorce. And especially with me being a practitioner, because the reality is I meet a lot of women that come here for divorce work to come into a new transition of their lives and become greater out of divorce. And they feel stuck. They still feel stuck years and years later. And I don't feel stuck. I don't feel disconnected from the world. I feel connected to myself. I feel connected to my spirit. And my work and my journey remains that to continue to go forward. But a lot of times, some of you who are watching this video will feel like I'm stuck. There's nowhere for me to go. But that's because we are not really practicing the attitude of gratitude and really being in a spiritual place to be aware of that I have a past, I have a present, and I have a future, but I need to acknowledge each one specifically for what they are and not make the future the
Right.
only destination of our lives.
But it means just being appreciative
Yeah.
of the journey and what you've picked up along the way
Mhm.
and seeing what is working on that journey. So we actually picked out a couple of quotes. So I'm going to end my piece on openness with a quote that says, "The mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work unless it's open."
The quote that I'd like to leave you with is to make space for things that fill you. And I would add to that, recognize what's already filling you.
Mm-hmm.
And my quote, the quote I wanted to leave you guys with, if I can find it, because I just brought it up and I was decided to leave the page and go somewhere else. Let's find it again. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Sorry.
It was very specific and now it's gone. But let's pick another one. The second one, the bestseller at this point is gratitude is peace, period.
Like that.
If you're able to be grateful for where you are and sit in the seat, you'll find your peace.
Mm-hmm. So with that, we'd like to thank you for once again joining us. And we will see you again in 2 weeks. And we should have an update on some of the things that we're going to be doing this year. And we hope that you will join us for some of those things.
Yes.
So we'll talk to you soon. And until then, have a great 2 weeks.
Stay well.
Stay well. Start your new year well.